What's up, everyone? Welcome back. Today, we're going to talk about the best ways to structure your days as a recruiter or a recruiting agency owner, some of the biggest factors that you need to think about, some of the biggest mistakes that you need to avoid. Before we get into that, if you're new to the channel, my name is Eric. I started my own recruiting agency. Now I help everybody else do that as well and help you scale, make more money, and get more clients. Be sure to come and join the free Facebook group. Come and join the community. A lot of great people in there. Also, check out recruiterrocket.io. Ton of free email templates, free resources, and we're building so much more. Go check it out. So usually there's really two people that are asking me, how do I structure my days as a recruiter or recruiting agency owner? The first person is the individual who's looking to close their first client or get that first book of clients in their back pocket so they can start making some money. And person number two is that individual has so many open recs, they don't know where to start. It's like a puppy at a dog park and you have a whole basket full of tennis balls dropped on top of you. You don't know which one to grab first, which is an amazing problem to have. It's just a great problem to have, but we're going to talk about how to prioritize all of that, how to structure the day. So when I was first getting started, I think I was at my parents' dinner table starting my recruiting agency. I'd moved back from Canada and I was back in New England looking for my first couple clients, looking to make some money. What I knew is I'd been in so many sales roles before. I know there has to be a good balance of getting my sales volume out there and also doing some personalized touches, really doing whatever I can to capture the attention of my targets and really stand out. I knew I needed to get to around 100 activities per day at the very least to make sure that I was going to go out and get that first client. I would start off on LinkedIn. I would go right to that job board and I wanted to go out and get the roles that I knew were going to pay me really well. I was really hell-bent on getting into Palo Alto, the Bay Area. I wanted to work on engineering roles and tech roles that I knew were going to pay me a lot of money. So that's what I did. I started on the job board. I looked for Java developers in San Francisco. I would funnel over to the organization and save 5 to 10 people that had the right job titles that I knew had decision-making power, and I would add them to the first email campaign, around 6 or 7 emails. So I would do that around 100 times throughout the day, but after around a week or around 2 weeks, I knew I could start to adjust what I was doing. So I would still get my activities out there. I would aim for at least 50, and I would try to get to 100. I would focus up on who was opening up my emails and who was clicking on certain things within the emails, the resources that I was sharing, and I would call those individuals and also leave voicemails. And this is what I really believe set me apart in the sales process. And a lot of people do this now, but the video voicemails were huge. I used Vidyard and I would really pay attention to those who opened the email up 7 times, or I would see the email got opened up 80 times, which meant they sent it to each other within the organization and multiple people were opening up that one email. And the Vidyards were just great because I would leave a thumbnail with their logo on it. So it would be very difficult not to click on that. And I would leave a very personalized message and it got a lot of great responses. Not something that everybody has to do, but it's something that really helped set me apart and close some really good clients in San Francisco, Palo Alto, San Jose, some really good companies. There's a lot of tools to help you out with the automation. I mean, email sequences are always great, but LinkedIn automation, I'll drop the tool that I use below, but there's plenty of LinkedIn automation tools to help you get your volume up. But always try to dedicate like an hour a day to personalizing some sales outreach, especially if you have no clients yet. Put in that effort, put in the work, and it's going to pay off. So before we get into the next section, I've talked about this before in some of the Facebook live sessions. Go and join the Facebook group, but time blocks have really changed the way that I look at my daily activities. Instead of measuring, the 50 to 100 activities in terms of sales per day, I started to really focus up on time blocks, half-hour time blocks per day. And from a sales perspective, all it really takes is 2 really good hard hours of sales work where you don't have your email open, you don't have your cell phone near, and you really focus on prospecting for those 2 hours, and you're going to blow out that 100 activities per day. So think about the time blocks. There's so much value to it without switching up your thought track and your brain power. Just focus on one thing for that half-hour time block, take a break. In 2 hours, you're going to be killing it from a sales perspective. All right, person number 2, your business is growing. You got some clients and you have a whole ton of open recs to work on. I've been here before and it can be overwhelming. And if you're overwhelmed, there's not a one size fits all answer, but there's certain things that you really need to pay attention to when you have a lot of open recs and a lot of money staring at you to be made. So here's how I would rank these factors in order. So number one, the roles in my niche. So I'm going to focus on sourcing the roles that I know I'm going to be closing more clients for in the near future. And you're going to hear me talk about this all the time, but I really want to make sure that if I'm going to dedicate a day of sourcing for 2 roles, that down the line, I potentially will have more options for them, because that's what my sales process is. That's who I'm targeting. So if I have account executive openings currently closed, so I can go and work on them and make money on them now, I know I have a sales process because that's my niche. I'm going to go out and find more clients, so I have more opportunities to make money off of this work that I'm going to do today. Number 2, if you're going to work on a bunch of different roles, if you're going to be one of those people, prioritize the highest bag and the highest likelihood of you making money. So the obvious, if one role is going to pay you out $25K and the next one is $12K, it's usually better to go after highest paying role in that scenario. That's a very easy decision, but there's a lot of other factors you need to think about. Prioritize the roles that seem to be the highest likelihood to close based on the employer. So you're going to work with a lot of employers that don't seem like they have the ability to close great candidates that are coming in. There's going to be red flags all over the place, and they're going to be subtle. They're going to be at the beginning of the process, and you need to start picking up on that. Could be a manager that's intimidated by really good candidates that are coming in, and that person doesn't want to be replaced. It could be you send 5 really good candidates and they don't have the ability to close them because they're not being competitive from a salary perspective, or they're being cheap, or they're just dragging their feet and they don't have a good process. So pay attention to those things. Yes, it's important to go after the highest paying roles, but pay attention to those factors and make sure you're prioritizing those employers that know how to respond. And here's a big mistake that a lot of folks make, is paying attention to those employers that are constantly stomping their feet for more candidates and may not be your best option to work on. Just because you're getting a lot of attention from a client, that's usually a good thing. That usually means they're going to pay attention to your candidates. But if they're not competitive, if it's a bad company, if they have bad Glassdoor reviews, if you're just not seeing the movement at all, don't pay attention to them. Don't be afraid to ghost a little bit here and there, because it's going to happen to you plenty as well. So to break this down, 65% of my time, I will primarily headhunt. I'll prioritize those roles, go out and find the candidates on my own. 25% of the time, I'm going to try to duplicate those roles. So I'm going to spend 25% of my day in sales still, trying to go and find that second software developer role that focuses in Java, then a third, then a fourth. So when I'm working on and finding these candidates, I have more options and more possibilities to make money. The other 10%, I think that adds up to 100. I got to do the math here, but I'm going to try to find recruiters to help me with those splits, try to connect with them over the phone, explain what I need, and try to find those folks and build a network of people that can help me when this happens again. And that is how I structured my days early on with building my recruiting agency. So come join the free Facebook group. Such an awesome community, some great people. Let's get out there. Let's go make some money.